with like the big tall towers and the lights and on the water. I think that was a little bit of like a shock to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes they make Baku look like Dubai in the pictures and whatnot.
Which I hate, to be
Um,
honest. So
Azerbaijan's in like that weird place where it's like in between the Middle East and Central Asia and Europe. And
hmm
I don't really know, other than the South Caucasus, if there's really a definitive place. But a dumb question, honestly, was like, which one do you like more, Azerbaijan or America?
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rufa. I'm joined with Matt today, and he was in Azerbaijan for how long? Like you were there for more than a year or something?
I think it was like 10 months, 11 months, so almost a
Okay.
year. Yeah.
Almost a year. And he was in Azerbaijan and learned really good Azerbaijani. Actually, I bet he speaks better Azerbaijani than me right now. So, well, Ish, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are, Matt?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. My name is Matt. I went to Azerbaijan a few years back, and I lived there for about 10 months. I studied Azerbaijani. I taught English, volunteered quite a bit when I was a sophomore in college. I'm originally from Florida, and yeah, I loved my time in Azerbaijan. Phenomenal country, great people. I got the chance to meet Rufat, and just a lovely place. I would speak so highly of.
Great. Well, that's good to hear. That's a good start, you know. So Matt, well, like I know that obviously not a lot of Americans at least know about Azerbaijan. At least in my case, when I was back there, it was kind of, well, at least we're talking about Nebraska's case. Like it was pretty difficult to explain people what Azerbaijan, not where Azerbaijan was, but what Azerbaijan is actually. So what was the first reaction when you told your like friends or family that you were moving to Azerbaijan?
Usually just where is that? um, yeah, I usually just used to say, like, people just kind of assumed it was in the Middle East,
hmm
which I don't know. I personally wouldn't categorize it as in the Middle East. I know Azerbaijan's in like that weird place where it's like in between the Middle East and Central Asia and Europe. And
hmm
I don't really know, other than the South Caucasus, if there's really a definitive place. But usually people just ask, like, where is it? Like,
hmm
what is it like? Especially once I went there. But beforehand, it was really just like what are they like? Where is it? Because it's a place that a lot of folks just had never heard of.
hmm So what did you think about Azerbaijan before visiting? Like, did you do your research, or you kind of like wanted to just go and then live the moment and see how it goes, or?
Yeah, we've got a phrase in English like trial by fire kind of thing. So was just I didn't do too much research, enough where I like knew what Baku was. I knew like some of like the history of Azerbaijan on a basic level, but I
hmm
wanted to keep myself really open to learning it through through my interactions with Azerbaijanis and through seeing it firsthand. But
hmm
I remember being really surprised. I got to admit, a lot of Americans, when they hear like any country that ends in like Stan or Azerbaijan or any countries that are far off like that, I think they just kind of assume that it's like rural and just very, I don't know, maybe not as wealthy as America, right? Things like that, I think, would immediately go to people's heads.
hmm
So I think for me, seeing like pictures of Baku with like the big tall towers and the lights and on the water, I think that was a little bit of like a shock to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes they make Baku look like Dubai in the pictures and whatnot.
Which I hate, to be
Um,
honest. So yeah.
yeah, and I would still say Baku is a beautiful city, in a different way, but I think it just seemed like a lot of contrasts are
hmm
kind of what stuck out to me beforehand. So I
See.
didn't really have a lot of expectations, but I
But
definitely knew it would be interesting.
yeah, for sure. But did you have like any stereotypes before going to Azerbaijan, like which completely? I mean, I know you mentioned about the Baku specifically, like looking like Dubai, or, but like, did you have any stereotypes? Like you were like, this is what I'm expecting, and you were like, oh wow, this is something else. I mean, could be
That's,
anything like culturally or in the cities itself, you know.
yeah, that's a really good question. I think I expected Russian to be a lot more popular than it is in Azerbaijan.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got there, I didn't speak a word of Azerbaijani except for like salam and like sal, like hello and thank you. I figured I'd need that. But I did speak decent Russian because I'd been to some other places in the country and I studied in school and whatnot. Um, so I was thinking, you know, like maybe I'll be able to get a few words in and whatnot, and I'll be able to speak with folks. But um, I think I was surprised to learn that it really is only, you know, depending on what school you go on if you're younger, but mostly it's really the older generations that speak Russian.
Right.
So that was a bit of a surprise to me.
It's kind of slowly fading out, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
See.
So, and other than that, I think I expected a lot more like people with like beards and a lot more people wearing like long sleeve shirts and suits and this and that. But I think people dress a decently amount, you know, like kind of Western, which
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I was expecting as much.
I see. I see. So, but what's your story with Azerbaijan? Like, what brought you actually to Azerbaijan? Like, how did you end up there?
Yeah, so there aren't too many opportunities to study in Azerbaijan naturally, just because it is kind of far off. But when I was in high school and then in college as well, even after Azerbaijan, there's quite a few like programs to study Russian.
Mm-hmm.
So I partook in some of those, and just because I was generally interested in that region of the world, there was an opportunity to study in Azerbaijan for a year.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of people choose to go to Azerbaijan, so it was a really
Yeah.
great opportunity for me. And I don't know, I'm kind of a, I don't know, I kind of like the idea of going somewhere new and exciting and just learning something very different than the
Right.
U.S.
Yep.
So I did that, and I studied Azerbaijani a few hours a day. I taught English. I volunteered my time in other ways, like editing or like grant writing or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, spending time with friends. I walked in every street in Baku, I would say I've been in.
Really? Okay. So, like, was it difficult to get like to meet people? I mean, I know that we're like Southern people. We have like this. We call it like this hot blood all the time. Like people. I mean, at least right now I live in Estonia, and it's really kind of difficult to have that first move. Like first connection with the people here, and people are kind of shy. But I don't know. How was your reaction? Like, sorry, like how was your impression about that? Like in Azerbaijan as locals,
I think folks were very friendly. Um, folks were much more friendly to me than they would be to other random people on the street. Because
Really?
I think to them it's like a novelty, almost like it's an exciting prospect that there's like an American studying their language.
Mm-hmm.
So like even if I said like salam in Azerbaijani, people would be like, oh, like why are you studying our language? Why not just speak to us in English? And I think that was a really great way to connect with folks. But a lot of people through like volunteering and teaching English. Like I'd go out with like my students and stuff like that for walks. And I think it's one of those things where like once you meet a couple of friends, like you meet their friends and so on. So
Right.
at the beginning, it was kind of hard to meet folks. But the more I got involved, like by the end, like I had friends I could go with like every day somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that
So,
was
like,
really
what,
nice.
what was the most popular question people were asking you, like, apart from where you're from?
Um, I used to get like, what do I like about Azerbaijan?
Uh-huh.
Um, I used to get a really, like, quite frankly, not a very kind of a dumb question. Honestly, it was like, which one do you like more, Azerbaijan or America?
En çok kimi istəyirsən, məni ya mamanı?
Which I was like, okay. Which I always used to give the same answer that like in Azerbaijani, it's a proverb, like herkeses vatani izistir. Like everybody's homeland is like special to them, and I think that resonated well. But always just adding in that I love Azerbaijan too.
Right. I think it's not like it's not just popular question for foreigners, because I remember you just told it right now. When I was a kid, when I was going to the village where like my family's originally from, in the mountains in the western part of Azerbaijan, the city called Gedabay. You probably might have heard. Like there, they were the first question they were asking me, like, what do you like most? Do you like Baku or the village? And I'm like, I don't know. This is a popular question. Do you like your dad or your mom? I was like, Maman çalışsa papana. No, I think it's like super, like kind of typical question. Like I think our people just love to ask, just shoot the shit. So
Yeah, That reminds me of one other one I used to always get. That this was like a shock to me. Like if you tell an Azerbaijani that you're American, they don't believe you. They're like, "Where are you really from?" I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Oh God, yeah.
Because in
Yeah.
Azerbaijan, yeah, like somebody I would say like, "Oh, where are you from?" They're like, "Oh, I'm from Gedebe," or like whatever region your family is from. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, when did you move to Baku?" They were like, "Oh, my grandparents moved to Baku."
God.
So it's like that whole idea of like lineage and descendancy, I think, is a lot
Mhm.
stronger. So it's like they would want to know where your great grandparents were from
Exactly. Yeah.
to
That's.
determine what culture you really are, because you're not, America isn't a culture in their eyes.
I know what you mean. It's just like to be honest, like I kind of had the same thing before moving to US. Like I was kind of thinking the same thing, especially in my first weeks there. Like people were just saying like, "Yeah, I'm from the US." Like somebody, right? I'm asking like, "Where are you from?" And they say like, "I don't know, I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska, for example." And I'm like, still like my Azeri, this like blood inside. I want to ask like where they're originally, like meaning like where are their parents from? You know. But and then I was like, no, you gotta calm down. You're not gonna ask that question, you know. But I
Yeah.
totally understand. Yeah. So my next question is that, like, I mean, I believe you got to like travel a bit while you were back there. Did you have a chance to visit outside of Baku? And if yes, where did you go?
Yeah, I went to Sumgayit.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Shaki. I went to Guba, Ganja, Lenkaran,
Wow.
Nakhchivan.
Really, you went to? Not? I have never been there.
Yeah, I got to travel there. That was a very interesting place. Trying to think where else. And I've been to like little cities here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I feel if I looked at a map, I'd be able to
Yeah,
pull
for
up.
sure. I mean, it was just interesting for me just to get to know like where exactly you travel and what was like the main difference that you saw between like people who lived in the capital and then who lived in the villages, you know, or in the regions.
Um, I'd say the biggest difference between folks in Baku and folks out of it is that's a really interesting question too. I don't know. I think life is just it just feels more calm out in the regions. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think in Azerbaijan, more than most places I've been in my life, there's a very strong, like rural Baku um, difference.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know how I would tangibly like quantify it though. I guess I would just say like to some extent it just feels more calm. It feels more like culturally strong, like less like globalized. I guess I don't really know. But I think what I felt in each of the different regions in Azerbaijan I went to, that it was like they retained more of their like ethnic localities. Like somebody from Guba is
Mm-hmm.
different than somebody from Genge.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I've been to Shamakh. I've been to as well. Um, like I feel like the regions have their own culture, and that feels a lot stronger than in Baku.
Right. Especially like in the, I mean, you probably, like you said, you were in Lankaran and in Guba, like they have even their own language, you know, like they don't speak like Azeri. They have like, in the south, they speak Talush, for example, like in Lankaran. And that kind of looks like, I think they use Latin alphabet, but it kind of looks like Persian at some point, you know, kind of like different. And I wouldn't even understand anything what they're saying. So
What
interesting.
you
Sorry.
were you in Lincoln itself, or were you in somewhere else in Nebraska?
No, I was in Lincoln. Yeah, in the capital.
I mean, so even Lincoln isn't a very big city, but I mean, you could tell for sure if you went to New York or DC or Miami, it's a
Oh,
world's difference than if you went to
for
Lincoln
sure.
or
I mean, I called it like it's like a cornfield land. You know, like you just go there, you stay in Midwest. I mean, people are different. Like obviously, I cannot like generalize things, but in Lincoln, people are they're more, let's say, like friendly. They're more like close to you. They're up to like asking a lot of questions, even if it doesn't matter. They're just gonna ask like whatever, you know. Or but in New York, it's just like it's super like it's super busy. You can see every type of person. It's like New York for me is like Berlin of United States. Like Berlin is Germany. It's like you can see literally every type of person. So, but
yeah.
Kind of makes
Yeah, I
sense.
mean, you wouldn't like if you wouldn't get a very good idea of American culture if you spent 11 months in New York without going to Nebraska or
Oh, for
Texas or
sure.
Florida.
For
So
sure.
it's the same
Yeah.
idea with Azerbaijan.
So what didn't you like? You said that you lived almost like up to a year there. What didn't you like about like? Did you have any difficulties while you were living in Azerbaijan, or kind of challenges, let's say, you faced with?
Um, Challenges. I mean, and the language is always a challenge, especially at first. Like it's like if I don't understand somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I think something that was always surprising to folks is I was never really worried about crime in Azerbaijan. Like I felt okay walking around at night. I think, I mean, one challenge is I just like little things that you like don't acknowledge at first. They have to pick up on like no taking pictures on the metro and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That like you can't do, but like as an American, I'd be inclined to do. I think just like the biggest challenge is like just I feel like like in Azerbaijani, it has a very strong connotation like mentalitet, like the mentality of
Mm-hmm.
folks just felt very different a lot of the time from mine. Like I think it's just hard to again it's just like one of those things that's hard to quantify, but I felt like if I wanted to go and just like take a picture on a metro in the US, like I would never like think twice about it, but like I always felt like I had to be mindful of being
Mm-hmm.
in another culture, always like cognizant of things like that.
Right.
I
See.
don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense to
Yeah,
you either.
totally. I mean, I honestly didn't take a lot of pictures when I was back in Baku, maybe because it was just my home. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'm seeing this thing every day. But like looking from like as a foreigner perspective who just came like for the first time, obviously I guess it would be kind of weird. Like you want to take a photo of something new you have never seen, and then they're just like, yo, like you're not doing that today. So, but yeah, I mean, of course. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
so
don't know. I'm maybe I just can't think of them at the moment. Maybe whatever it is, but I don't know. It just always felt like there was. I don't know, I think there's just something tough, whether it be Azerbaijan or Austria or Australia. Like I think there's just something about being in a culture that's so different.
right.
But
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know if there's anything about Azerbaijani culture in particular that was like really challenging.
Yeah, I totally get it. So, what would be like my kind of like it's not like a question, but it's kind of like will be advice from you. I know that like there are many, let's say, people moving to Azerbaijan. It could be anything relate, just like as a tourism reason. Obviously, not right now, but like in general, or somebody moving like for work. Like, what would be your recommendation for the newcomers? Like as a kind of like number one advice, like you would do this, and it would make your life easier. You know.
I'd say try and make some Azerbaijani friends. I'd say learn Azerbaijani.
Hmm.
um, I think is definitely number one. I think in Azerbaijan more than in most places in the world, like speaking even a few sentences in the local language goes a very long way.
Hmm.
I think people really, really appreciate it when you speak in their language. And I mean, I've had some incredible experiences in Azerbaijan just because I went up to somebody and asked the directions in Azerbaijani. And I think being willing to trust and say yes to opportunities is huge.
Hmm.
But I think Azerbaijan is kind of a hard culture to discern and engage in, just from like an outside American perspective. And I
Hmm.
think the more interaction you have with locals, and the more if somebody invites you to like a Novruz celebration, jump across the fire or try
Hmm.
the sweets or things like that, and just have
Yeah.
an open mind. I think is so important. Just take an active interest in the language and culture.
Actually, just from there, I just remembered like one like question kind of. What would be like, let's say, I know that like you're interested in languages, but like for example, what was the thing that kind of helped you in learning the language itself? Like obviously, like hang out with friends, but like, did you have any other? I don't want to say like a secret formula, but what was the main thing that helped you a lot to learn the language, the local language?
The biggest thing for me was limiting English at every turn. So I only like spoke with my family like maybe once or twice a week. I didn't really, if I talked with friends back home, it wasn't like all day long I was texting them. I
Hmm.
went 10 months in Azerbaijan without a cell plan. So I had like a little like burner phone where I would text people in Azerbaijan, but I only like communicate with people in America when I had Wi-Fi.
Uh-huh.
Um, so for me, it was again, like you're kind of forced to learn Azerbaijani. Like the movies I would watch, the music I would listen to, all those things. I just tried to actively immerse myself. Azerbaijani TV is very interesting. I like to do that.
What was your favorite channel?
I don't know about channel in particular, like maybe like AzTV or something like that. But
I was waiting for that.
yeah, that's the big one. That's like our NBC. But I used to just watch the TV shows on YouTube. They're all there. So every once in a while, you can get movies that are like dubbed or subtitled in English. So those were always beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it plays into the whole, cultural interest. If you're interested in Azerbaijani music, looking up the words in Azerbaijani, you learn a few new words, or it just seeps into your ears and things like that. So I think in any language, it's a universal advice is just engage in the culture outside of like individual interactions. And when you're by yourself, listen to the music, watch the videos, podcasts, any of those things, I think will just really helped me immerse myself and learn the language better.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. Well, thanks, Matt. Thanks for joining. And do you have any final thoughts you want to share with people that?
If you're considering going to Azerbaijan, you should definitely do it. If you're heading there, whether you want to or not, you definitely should make the most of it. I think it's a phenomenal place. I think Azerbaijani hospitality, I've lived in the South extensively here in the U.S., is unparalleled. And I think it's just an incredibly beautiful culture and language. And I would definitely say take advantage to the opportunity. It's all that you can. So
awesome.
I would always speak highly of it.
Thanks for joining. Cool.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.